My name is Frances Hammond, and I'm the convener of the Parenting Bloom Institute. And today we are having a very free webinar on the channel. We are we have an upcoming course which is titled Understanding and Knowing Your Child's Learning Style. And with this course, this is a course every parent should register, in my opinion, because it's a gift that gives on giving. But before we do the main course, which is scheduled for the 22nd and 23rd of October, we're going to have a mini series of free courses leading up to the main course. So today we're going to talk about what happened to our eager learners and how, as a parent, you can whip up interest in your child. And so, think about this. When you have a child at home, like a toddler baby, that child, they can crawl on their own, touch things on their own. They keep trying, repeating, failing, trying, repeating, failing, all on their own. Do you get it? They do everything on their own. It's like there's this motivation in them that is ingrained. That is ingrained. And if you observe children, they are very eager learners. Children are very eager learners. On their own, they can learn and thrive. On their own, they can learn and thrive. If you have a baby at home, you keep on saying, stop, don't touch it, don't do this, don't, because they are curious learners. Like, they want to know how things work. They want to figure out how things work. And so they keep on trying and trying and trying. And so you realize that if you sit and observe your toddler or your baby, you realize that they are very smart children on their own, fueled by curiosity. But then, things change along the line. Things change along the line when we take them to school. And then once eager learners are no longer eager learners, it's like their love for learning wins when they rather go to school. Their love for learning wins when they rather go to school. And you wonder why that is the case. You see, the reason is that school provides one curriculum and one teaching environment and one method to fit all the learning styles. And to be very honest with you, in my opinion, it's a very huge error. It's a very huge error because you do not expect toddlers and infants to do the same things at the same time. Compare the environment at home and the environment at school. Compare the environment at home and the environment at school. It's like the environment at home is a free range environment. And by the way, please let me issue a disclaimer. This is not me asking you to homeschool your children. Matter of fact, if you can homeschool your children, that is absolutely fantastic. But for the majority of parents like me, we cannot homeschool our children. So we have to take them to school for them to be taught. And the truth of the matter is that school is a major part of a child's surroundings. And kids are excited to find out what it's all about. And if school is a major part of a child's surrounding, teachers are also part of a child's environment. A matter of fact, teachers are supposed to help our children. They're supposed to help with the parents in raising our children. They are a big deal, but they are not bigger than the parents. Because as a parent, you are the main teacher and the most important one at that. I think in a back to school masterclass, I was sharing with the parents that going to school to go and fight your children's teachers is a huge error. And I still stand by that. And even if the teacher is in the wrong, there's a way to go about it. The school is a helper of your destiny. The school is supposed to help you raise your own children. And now back to the conversation we are having. Children accomplish their own developmental milestones at their own pace and in their own way. at their own pace and in their own way. You don't expect infants and toddlers to be in the same environment, move from a free ranging moving environment to a fixed environment. In this case, I'm describing the school, to make them wear uniforms, to sit at a desk, and then you expect them to progress at the same time using only one of several learning styles. And then when a child does not measure up, we know what the teacher described as children: lazy. This child lacks concentration. This child is this. This child is that. Madam, your child cannot sit still. Your child cannot do this. Your child disrupts the class. But that is not how it's supposed to be. Matter of fact, it's an error, and I keep saying that it's an error. To share a few research with you. Research shows that by the first and second grades, many students actually see themselves to be failures. And 95% of kindergarteners feel good about their learning potential. However, 98% of seniors in senior high school have lost their creative, inquisitive spirits. Creative, inquisitive spirits. Why is that so? Look at the difference. Look at the difference. From 95% of kindergarteners believing in their potential and their abilities, and by the time they reach senior high, 98% have lost their creative, inquisitive spirits. And if you compare the numbers, it's too much. The difference is stark. Why should a child lose their love for learning? Why? And learning is supposed to be for a lifetime. Learning is supposed to be for a lifetime. So if by senior high you've lost your love for learning, you can imagine what lies ahead of a child. And that is why you come in as a parent. That is where you come in as a parent. You have to be an advantage to your child. You have to know the learning styles and apply them at home. I keep on saying home is a very important environment for a child. What happens in your home will determine what happens in school. What happens in your home will determine whether your child will be a lifelong learner. So you cannot just say that I've paid school fees, the teachers should handle their own, they should know what they're about. I paid $10,000, I paid this, I paid that. No. Yes, the school is not offering free service. You have to pay for that service. But in addition to that, you cannot leave the entire job of raising a wholesome learner, of raising an eager learner, of raising a lifelong learner to the teacher. Just look at your home. You may have 2 or 3 children at home. But, managing all of them at the same time can be very tough at times. So imagine a teacher with 50 plus students, 80 plus students, 60 plus students. They won't be able to, manage them or have that undivided attention for them. And usually, very typical of schools, when you see schools with their very huge settings, majority of the time used to teach will be used in disciplining or will be used to let other be in the class. So then it starts with only a little time for teaching. So as a parent, you cannot afford to teach your child at home. It is too expensive and too risky to leave everything to the teacher. Too risky. And unfortunately for us as parents, I'm busy, I work a 9 to 5, I do a 5 to 9, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I don't have time, that is why I pay fees. Of course, whatever excuse you are giving or whatever you're saying is valid, but it's not going to give you the exact result or the specific results you are looking for. And it's be painful to change cedis to dollars to look for the best school for your child, only for your child to lose interest in school or schooling or learning for that matter. It's a very huge error and a very expensive one at that. We are supposed to help the teachers in the school. in raising lifelong learners. The teachers cannot do it all. The schools cannot do it all. The onus lies on us as parents and caregivers to put our best foot forward. I think in the back to school month, I was sharing a quote that children are not part of the most important work. They are the most important work. And it's very true if you think they are the most important work. They are the reasons why we are going up and down, why we are looking for money, why we want to do this, why we want to do that. But in the process of seeking to provide a better life for them, we lose them. We lose them. And that is why an academy like Parenting Bloom Institute is here for you to see the gaps and bridge it. We are going to have a learning style course, as I've already said, where you identify in fact, you identify your own learning style as a parent, and then you identify the learning style of your children, and then you will help them at home. You liaise with the teacher and work together with the teacher to help teach your child. And by doing this, you're going to become an advantage to your child. Oh, yes, you are. You're going to become an advantage to your child. A huge advantage to your child. Please excuse me. A huge advantage to your child. So sorry about that. Let me paint 2 stories for you. I'm going to talk about some different types of learners. I'm sure they will resonate with you. Oh, yes, yeah. We're going to talk about Eja. When Eja was in preschool, gosh, he loved it. He loved going to school because he would play, he would do his own things, he would hang his bag, he would play with play. He would do, he was in a Montessori school too, so you can imagine. I mean, the vim was there, and he was so happy going to school. But when he transitioned to grade school, unfortunately for Eja, he struggled a bit with reading and with maths. And like typical of some Ghanaian schools, or of majority of these Ghanaian schools, his teacher described him as lazy. Lazy. We moved from being smart, being happy, being curious, being eager to go to school, to go into grade school because a child is unable to read and do math. He's now described as lazy. Can you see how that shifted? Like it moved from 0 to 100 real quick. And I keep on thinking, how can you tell a 7-year-old that he is lazy? Or an 8-year-old? A very young child at that. Matter of fact, what motivation is provided by telling an 8-year-old that he is a failure? And I want to throw the ball to you back as parents. Why do you accept such things from teachers? Look, there is a way to disagree healthily with a teacher. It doesn't need to be in anger, shouting, throwing fists. No. Why do you accept such labels given to your children when, as a parent, you saw firsthand how curious your child was, how smart your child was? And please let me issue a disclaimer here once again. If you have a special needs child, their case is different. I'll come to them. But special needs children need special attention. Hence their name. Hence their name. And it doesn't mean they're not smart. No. Majority of special needs children are smart. The only difference between a special needs child and a regular child is that they need special, specific, curated attention. So in this class, I'm going to talk about regular children. But parents of special needs children, please do not feel marginalized. It will come to you. It's a series, as I've already said. Why do parents accept, these labels given to their children? And when do they stop believing in these spirited young learners they were at 3, 4, or 5 years old? And then all of a sudden they go to grade school and everything shifts. Look at Eja. From being a curious smart child to being described as lazy because of English and maths. Let's look at Kojo. Kojo was a very active, happy learner. However, when he went to grade school, I mean, and this is not a shade to grade schools. I mean, the more you advance, the more complex the work becomes. He wouldn't sit still. When someone is looking for the teacher, he even want to open the door for the person, and like he literally disturbs the whole class. And he was one of the top readers, but unfortunately, his grade started declining. And he moved from being a third position to being a fifth in position. And his teacher also described him as always disturbing the class. My question is, does it make sense to set up learning hierarchies in first and second grades? Or should a child be labeled disruptive and punished for wanting to move around in the classroom? And does learning only occur when a child is seated at a desk? Think about these questions I've asked you. Because look at our school environment. There are certain things that are wrong in majority of school environments. The use of one size fits all teaching style, and there's a heavy focus on grades, rote learning, and sitting still. And if a child doesn't fit in any of these things, they are labeled as slow, lazy, or distracted. I remember growing up, and when I went to school, my school, they grouped us into 3 classes: the very smart ones, the average ones, and the not so smart ones. And in my school, we used to call them the billionaires club. I mean, looking back, that was very traumatizing for them. Very traumatizing. Because imagine not being able to fit a particular model a school wants. And because you're not able to fit, you're being described as lazy, dull, not smart. And it sort of creates an inferior complex between them and us. Like, we're on extreme ends of the spectrum. There's so smart ones and they're not so smart ones. Until today, more than 20 years of completing school, I still think those of us who are in the first class are still more smarter or will make it in life than they. Such a pity. Such a pity. But this is our reality. This is our reality, especially for us as Ghanaians. A grade 1 and a grade 2 child. We say you are first, you are second, you are 55th in class, 66th in class. I mean, what are you hoping to achieve in a child when you put them in hierarchies? Because look at the story of Eja and Kojo. Like, the school system has failed them. And do you know what will happen to them when they grow up? They will grow up to believe that they are failures because the school always reminded them that they weren't measuring up all the time. For them, school will just become a routine. I remember parents saying, look, my child now likes to go to school because of his friends, because he now saw school as a chore. It reminds me of a kindergartner who went to school. I mean, he was so excited to go to school and all of that. So when he started school, he went the very first day. The next day, he told his mom, am I supposed to do this again tomorrow? Because I did that today. And I don't see myself doing it. Can you imagine at kindergarten? At kindergarten. So, I mean, this tells us a lot. Our schools, if there's any educator here listening to me, please put your best foot forward and make some adjustments in your schools. You're already doing well as a school, but there's a lot that can be changed. There is a lot that can be changed. And by the way, if you are listening to this live, on the 5th of October 2025, 5th October is Teachers' Day. Teachers Day, and then for the majority of schools, they appreciate their teachers. Instead of giving them cash and cloth and pastries and the rest, you can pay for them to come and sit in a class like this, i.e., they know your child's learning style course. Because when they sit in a class like this, they will learn so much, and to keep on having rippling effects long after your child has left that class. The knowledge will still be there, the implementation process will still be there, and other people will benefit from it as well. I mean, what's better gift to give to your child's teacher than registering them for the knowing your child's learning style course being offered by the Parenting Bloom Institute? Look, parents, if you miss that reading challenge and a back to school masterclass, trust me, you do not want to miss this class. And even the back to school masterclass, the sort of strategies we learned there, if you didn't catch it, you can always slide in my DM and pay for a replay. There were 11 core things. And our back to school masterclass was not about wake up early and pack your snacks before the next day. No. No. It was more than that. Even your child in university will still benefit from that class. And with all the PBI courses, note that you can always pay and catch a replay. These are paid courses. These are paid courses. It is not everything that will put up for free. Sometimes you have to pay. And I mean, how much is 150 cedis? I say this with all humility. Majority of us spend 150 cedis unknowingly. You are hungry, it's lunchtime, you want to buy something. Before you realize you've spent 200 cedis. So imagine you say all the courses in PBI are subsidized to reach a wide market, because the gospel of intentional parenting needs to be preached. The fact that you have to become a parent with an advantage to your child, it comes at a cost. It comes at a cost. For 150 cedis, you are going to gain knowledge, you are going to get worksheets, you are going to be shown how you implement it. Parents, you do not want to miss out on this particular knowing your learning style course. And one thing I must also add is that it's not just for academics, it's not just for school, it's even translating to your disciplining your children and all of that. But we'll discuss that in the main class. So start sending your momo, start registering for the class. The classes have already been created. People are already onboarded. You want to join them and wait and sit pretty in class. And this is PBI. For every course we put out there, we put our best foot forward. And all of our courses have value, and parents are attesting to that. PBI is here to stay. So stay with us, grow with us, learn, and raise children who will be an advantage to you and to the society at large. We've spoken about Eja and Kojo. We're now going to talk about another child who the school system has failed. And that child is known as the gifted child or the trophy child, the one who always follows instruction, the one who always does their work neatly and hands it over, the one who doesn't miss a paper or a homework or a project. I mean, the one who's always prim and proper, the one who's always scoring A's. Look, parents, especially for millennials like us, our parents made a huge mistake with us, because, I mean, for them, academic success was everything. And I mean, everything. But sometimes that is not the whole story. The fact that you are smart when it comes to English and maths, that doesn't mean we are going to be smart in life. We're going to talk about Araba. One solid student. She was a very good student who presented all her work and did all was expected of her. And because of that, she missed out on having fun. She really missed out on a lot. Instead of going to play football with her friends or chess or whatever, she's indoors doing her homework because she has to present her work by Monday. And then good grades are the rewards we give to children for getting A's. And one thing is that such children are usually full of anxiety. Araba says she was always anxious and fearful of not getting A's or falling below the standard. So it was like she was a puppet who was performing for the school. I told you about my school in GHS, where the very smart students were in one class, the average ones were in another class, and then also smart ones were in the class. We usually call them the last class or the billionaires class. And it was teachers who gave them these names and laughing hysterically at it. I mean, looking back, that is so wrong. But back to Arabic story and linking it to my story. I remember going to school always anxious, always fearful. Like I know that the teachers were doing this to motivate us to learn, but it was rather putting fear in us. Like just like Arabic, we're also performing. We're also performing. I'll take a look at Sami. Whilst his friends are playing, having fun, they said he has to learn to get a scholarship. And so he's indoors doing SAT or GRE or SAT. Those children, those are the times we call book long. And before we realize they are grown, no friends, no skills outside of academics, they are just there. And then 20 years later, you hear the mom calling, oh, I'm looking for a job for my son. Please, if you have a job, let him in. And they're not so smart ones. The ones with tempt dull and lazy and distracted. They go to town, that bubbly fun self means, oh, I'm looking for a job, then their friends will give it to them. And the smart ones in quotes, we didn't build their people skills, we didn't build their other skills, social skills, everything. We just focused on English and maths. In the process, we did them a great disservice. Araba, I'll describe Araba as a failure. Most of us, she's a failure. But she had a different kind of failure because she succeeded in the system but failed to develop herself. Are you a parent with a trophy child? Pay attention to that child and ensure that you are not doing a disservice to that child. We're not going to talk about the disinterested and bored and average learners, you know. These students also feel differently, you know. Darren's good at studies or sports, and they simply just remain passive. Matter of fact, these students see schools as punishments. School is a place of a lot of punishment and a few rewards. And they are just going through the motions. They're just going through the motions. You know? And it's quite unfortunate. Majority of these students tell themselves that, oh, when I get out of school or pursue my interest or do what I want. But they've been passive for so many years. They've been passive for so many years. And because of that, their system has gotten used to it. So even if they complete school, they cannot be active because majority of their lives have resulted in them being passive, you know. And unfortunately for them, for the average students, I mean, they are not in the high highs or the low lows. So with such students, they do not get attention from the teachers. If you're in the high highs, the teachers are on you, they want you to perform, they're always clapping for you, blah blah blah. And then you find the low lows, you know, they're always on your case, do your homework, why not learning? Why is this? We'll do extra classes for you, we'll do this, we'll do that. But when in the average, you are neither here nor there, so you are just there, going through the motions. They're the most neglected kind of children. So we see the different types of children I've described and how we have failed them as parents and as a school. We have failed these students. Their love for or their eagerness for learning wanes quickly. And let me tell you something about Araba. When Araba finished school, she never took a single book to read because, according to her, she has passed the time. And if you look or listen carefully to Araba's story, that's the story for most of us. So we have exams to write, we won't learn. Nothing will force us to take a book. And I keep on saying, the Bible, cry. If it was not for religious reasons or for the fear or love of God, we wouldn't read it. But nothing, absolutely nothing, will push us to take books to read on our own. That is because we weren't raised to be lifelong learners. We weren't raised to be lifelong learners or people who love learning. So parents, it's not your child's fault that they do not love learning or their eagerness or curiosity for learning has waned. It's the fit. You know, many kids fail because the teaching style doesn't match with their learning style. Let me repeat it again. Many students fail because the teaching style doesn't match their learning style. It doesn't. So that is why they can't match up or measure up or fit. And as a parent, your role is to notice the mismatch and bridge it. And the question is, how will you notice the mismatch? When you have knowledge like this, when you have knowledge or gain knowledge from sitting in a course like this, you'll be able to identify the mismatch and use the knowledge you have gained to bridge the gap. To bridge the gap, you have to bridge the gap as a parent and become an advantage to your child. So we're going to look for some practical tips we're going to share with parents today. This is a very short class, unlike our paid classes. Watch out for frustration signs in your ward. And this is not for toddler parents, or this is for older parents as well. Even if you have a child in a university, this is for you. And even for you as a parent, this class is for you. This class is for you. So you can see that the price attached to this course has been highly subsidized. So take advantage of it, because our aim is to create awareness. Our aim is to teach. Our aim is for parents to become knowledgeable. That is our aim. You cannot save everything to the schools, as I've already said. So now back to practical tips parents can do. You have to watch out or watch for frustration signals. When your child avoids homework, they're always complaining about school, or they're always zoning out when it comes to anything academics. Those are your cues, and those are your signals. You should know that something is wrong. You should know that there's a mismatch. You should know that there can be a better way. There can be a better way. There can always be a better way of doing things. Those are your cues. So notice the cues and refuse to be frustrated. Matter of fact, as a parent, as PBI, we teach our parents to train their eyes to identify gaps. And when you identify these gaps, number 2, you have to reframe your struggles. You have to change your perspective. Instead of saying, my child won't focus or my child won't sit at one place, you can say, maybe this method doesn't stick with my child. In what other ways can I help him or her? In what other ways can I help him or her? Change your perspective as a parent. Change your perspective. To raise a self-directed learner, you need to give your child personal attention. I'm going to say it again. To raise a self-directed learner, you need to give your child personal attention. Emphasis on personal. Personal attention. Your child is not going to get personal attention from the teacher. No, they are not. That is why you come in as a parent, because you'll be the one to offer that personal attention to that child. That is why you need to work hand in hand with the teacher and establish a cordial relationship with the teacher to help you teach your children. To help teach your children. And parents, I want to tell you this. I'm ending my life soon. Your child is not broken. They just have a unique learning style waiting to be understood. Your child is not broken. They just have a unique learning style waiting to be understood. Waiting to be understood. And in order for you to understand your child, you have to know before you'll be able to understand the child. This is Parenting Bloom Institute. In the month of September, we are having our learning style course. And this course is for parents. In the main class, we will offer parents worksheets in addition to the webinars for them to identify that child's learning style and help that child thrive. No child should be termed dull or lazy. Even if you have a child with special needs, when you know their learning style, you can use it to their advantage for them to thrive as a person, for them to thrive as a people, even children with special needs. So, Mama, your child is not broken. Dad, your child is not broken. They have a unique learning style. And what you see, one thing about children is that when their learning styles are celebrated, motivation comes easy to them. To celebrate your child's uniqueness, you need to know. You need to know. So join the academy and know. Today we have thrown light on our eager learners. Our eager learners we have learned today are not lazy children. Oh no, they aren't. They are still the smart children we knew at 3 and 4 years old. They are still the smart children we've always known them to be. But probably the environment where they spend majority of their time is what is not helping. So this course is for parents and caregivers and school owners and teachers. This course is for you to learn and bridge the gap. So take advantage. Take advantage of our course and be an advantage to your child. My name is Frances Hammond. This has been me talking about what happened to our eager learners. And I know you have learned something from this course. We cannot wait to host you in the main Understanding and Knowing Your Child's Learning Style course. Till then, see you.